I know. I'm smiling so you can see my fangs. I'm gonna sharpen them up for you. You know what I'm saying? Or I might get the Wu Tang grills with the fangs on them. You know what I'm saying? Just for an event like this, man. This is Achad, author of Wholography. Get the book, holographer.com/the-book. And in this broadcast or live stream, you need to be dealing with Vampire in Brooklyn. Um, it's one of those hood movies. I wouldn't say hood because then that's saying like, black people are, called hood. And there's some bougie black folks out there. There's nothing hood about them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just, putting that out there. That's why I got my red on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no blood or nothing, but I will say that I caught some blood dudes, you know what I'm saying words with C in them. Start with C. And they know they're supposed to put that B instead of that C. So I might have to be like, yo, I might have to check with your big homies, you know what I'm saying? That's a violation, you know what I mean? But I'm not in gang culture. I'm not in the hood, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying wearing the red because of the blood. Vampire in Brooklyn, you know what I mean? Movie that came out in 1995, I think. Yeah. Eddie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? I just did a live broadcast a couple days ago dealing with or a few days ago dealing with Eddie Murphy when he was in the 80s playing Chandler Gerald from or in the movie Golden Child, the Golden Child. You know what I'm saying? And I was calling him spiritual Eddie Murphy. Well, in this broadcast, this live stream, make sure you tune in, get other people to tune in. We're going to deal with Eddie Murphy and his vampire attire. His vampire attire. We're going to call him Vamp Eddie Murphy. We call him spiritual Eddie Murphy in the last one. We're going to call him Vamp Eddie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? This is where Eddie Murphy was like, I want to do something supernatural, but I want to do it dark. I want to be undead. I want to be, the fangs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I want to bite people this time. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to have the supernatural powers. Like in the Golden Child, he had powers as, he didn't really have the supernatural gifts, but, he still had that special touch because he was tasked with, finding and protecting the Golden Child, which is the one with the powers. In this one, he's like the Sardo Numps, you know what I'm saying? The Sardo Numpsy, but it's vampire, you know what I mean? So Vamp Eddie Murphy and Vampire in Brooklyn. So obviously, this is a movie where Vamp Eddie is trying to show what it would be like if black people and the streets in New York, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Where Brooklyn at? You know what I mean? Where Brooklyn at? Bed-Stuy and all that. You know what I'm saying? Where Brooklyn? Where y'all at? Where the Brooklyn people at? So this is as if a vampire or a Dracula like figure came to your hood. You know what I'm saying? Your block. What would that be like? You know what I'm saying? Your borough. You know what I'm saying? In the Big Apple, a vampire with huge teeth come to take a bite out of the Big Apple. You know what I mean? But here's the thing about Vamp Eddie Murphy, or at least the actor. They or whoever helped him write this story, because his brother, like in the credits, Charlie Murphy and some guy named Vernon Lynch helped write the movie Vampire in Brooklyn. So they knew a few things. You know what I'm saying? They didn't stick like strictly to the vampire formula. They did mention Nosferatu, which is a very important and pivotal vampire movie that came out in like the 20s or the 1910s or something like that, and it kind of laid the blueprint for vampire movies going forward. You know what I'm saying? The Nosferatu, like the bald, big-eared, his fangs wasn't right here, his fangs was right here, and he had the two long teeth in the front. That's a scary sight. I think a few kids back in kindergarten had that going on. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't have the two front teeth missing or one missing, it was the two long teeth. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I was never one of those kids where both my teeth was missing in the front. It was either one or the other. You don't catch me in no fucking school pic or no, playground picture with, what I'm saying, two missing teeth. Nah, that your whistle game was 100%. You know what I mean? You could whistle through that wide ass gap. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Him and his brother or whoever wrote this movie put more things into the vampire mythos than what you get from, you know, your run-of-the-mill standard vampire movie. You know what I'm saying? There was also some Dracula stuff in there, you know, even in the, you know, opening credits of this movie, Vampire in Brooklyn. You know, he mentions Nosferatu, and he also mentions Transylvania. But what's new to the vampire thing, which I don't really recall in any movie prior to it, is him mentioning ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet, right? So if you deal with the whole Anne Rice thing, right? In her Encyclopedia of Vampire, whatever it's called, whatever the exact title is, you know, Anne Rice is responsible for interview with a vampire, and also what's the movie with Aaliyah? The late Aaliyah was in. She played Akasha. What was that movie? Can't believe the name is escaping me. Hold on, let me look it up. Let me look it up. Can't believe I forgot it. Queen of the Damned. There we go. So that's Anne Rice's. I know there's a few other movies that's associated with her too. And you know, she became this authority on modern vampire, like how modern vampires are, because she did a study on, you know, how ancient or far back vampirism goes. And you know, even in her work, she recognizes that, you know, ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt was kind of like the origin of this undead, blood-sucking creature of the night, of the night. You know what I'm saying? Of the night. You know what I mean? I like saying that. It makes all the girls get spooky and they want to, you know, penetrate the dark mystery, or they'll let me penetrate their dark mystery. You know what I'm saying? You say, like a thief in the night, like a vampire in the night. But this ain't the first black vampire movie, obviously. Blackula. Like if you go back to the 70s, you know, you had the William Marshall, I believe his name was. And you know, you had that the initial or the first vamp or Blackula movie, and then you had the sequel with I think they did a movie also with Pam Grier in it, if I'm not mistaken, because again, that was a movie that came out during black exploitation era of the 70s. But going back to the opening, just the opening credits of Vampire in Brooklyn tells you everything you need to know about the movie. And I love that Eddie Murphy does that quick voiceover in the beginning of this movie to tell you what's up. So basically, he's a creature, not in the way that you think vampires are, you know, in earlier movies, or earlier works. You know what I'm saying? He's more like this creature that was already kind of born that way. So I don't think he was ever a vampire that someone bidding, you know what I'm saying? And he became one. No, he was born like that. He's a species. So that's a different take on vampires, because a lot of times it's, you know, it's Dracula, right? Dracula is the original, you know, in a lot of storylines, like, you know, going back to Bram Stoker's, you know, Dracula, the book or whatever. In that story, I guess he just comes back from the dead, and I guess he made a pact with the devil or something like that, right? And then everybody he bites after that, they continue the vampirism. But in this instance, this is a creature. This is just like a human or a dog or an elephant or some sort of cat. Like it's a creature that already exists. You know what I'm saying? So it's and I would say it's higher up the food chain than the human, right? It's higher up the food chain. It you know, takes the blood out of the human for sustenance, right? So it's a creature. So it becomes like a species that, you know, coincides with the, I guess, the creation or like the um inhabitation or inhabitants of the human on this earth. So it's here just like the human is. And it looks like the human and does some human stuff, but it ain't human, right? Now, Eddie Murphy, who I guess his name is Maximilian in the movie, he is part of a clan of these vampires that he says they lived. First of all, they came out of ancient Egypt and they started living in parts of Africa. Some of them went up to Transylvania, like in Europe, but a lot of them spread out through Africa and I guess adjacent lands. And some of them migrated to a island out in the Bermuda Triangle. You know what I'm saying? And you know about the, you know, the occult or the, you know, the whole story and the mythos behind the Bermuda Triangle, right? Like how a lot of people or sailors that went through that area and never were heard of or seen of again, like they got sucked into some sort of portal or something like that. I think they deal with it in one of these Pirates of the Caribbean movies too. I think so. Yeah, I think maybe like the fifth or fourth or fifth movie where these undead pirates come out of the Bermuda Triangle or something like that. Something like that. But in this movie, Vampire Brooklyn, they're, he said that his vampire peoples, they lived on this island and then, they attacked any type of ship or humans sailing on the ocean or the Atlantic Ocean and used them as a food source. But I guess there was a war and, they fought humans and the vampire species, some of them died, some of them didn't survive the war or whatever. Now Eddie Murphy's character, or Vamp Eddie Murphy, he's the last of his kind. But the point of the movie is that he's traveling to United States or New York, where Brooklyn at, you know what I'm saying, to get his wife and to continue that vampire line or that vampire race. So he's coming to America. Note the title, or note what I just said, coming to America to continue his species, right? This is a direct contrast to Coming to America, you know what I'm saying, where he plays Akeem coming to America to find his bride because he doesn't want to be a part of the arranged marriages, and his country is Zamunda. So I like comparing these two movies because they're basically the same. Like I said in the last stream that I did about the Golden Child, like it's basically the same movie. He's coming to America to get his woman. But in this movie, he doesn't succeed. He doesn't get her. You know what I'm saying? And we need to jump into that right now. Now, if you know that you are something beyond human, like you have some sort of genetics or some sort of spiritual significance or some sort of DNA or anything that causes you to go beyond the human structure or the human limitation, the human parameter, wouldn't you want to jump into that and see what that's all about and develop yourself to become that? Because I'm seeing a lot of movies. It's not even just Vampire in Brooklyn. I'm seeing it's shows too, where it's this theme where this creature or this thing that's beyond human doesn't it wants to be human for some reason, or it gives up its power and its abilities to just be a regular ass human being. And I'm like, why would you do something dumb like that? So you don't want the vampire powers? Like you don't want the fangs? I want the fangs. I'll give me the fangs. I don't want the teeth like this. I want the fangs. Why wouldn't you want to become something greater than the human, the average human, especially the human in the Western world? I even seen, like I said, this same theme is in the show Watchmen from HBO. Same thing, like the blue guy, Dr. Manhattan. Like he, not to spoil it for you like that, but he does something where he stops being the blue guy and he just becomes a regular dude. And it's like, why would you want to be regular? Like you don't want the powers? You know what I'm saying? I guess it's something like, how these billionaires be slumming. Like, they just billions of dollars, billions of assets or value in assets, but they want to go slumming. Like they want to live life like they bums and hobos or whatever. $1 billion, but sitting up here out in the street acting like they're a bum. I guess they get like a thrill out of it or some sort of, you know, I mean, it's like a change of scenery, I guess, or a change of being since you've been a billionaire all your life and you just get bored of it, I guess. So now you want to go out in the slums, the Shaolin slums, and live like a bum or whatever. Yeah, it's called slumming. Check it out. They do it. And you ain't even got to go that far. You can just be like somebody that's, you'd be a billionaire or a millionaire, but you don't alert people to the fact that you have the money. Like you just dress like a regular dude. You drive a regular car, but nobody knows you have $1 million in assets or in the bank or whatever. But I'm getting off topic. So the reason I'm bringing up this theme is because Angela Bassett's character in this movie is a disappointment to me. Why? Because she doesn't want to be the vampire, even though it's in her bloodstream. So she doesn't want to be what she actually is. She wants to live like a human, do human things, go to human functions, and be a cop. You know what I'm saying? And that was a dead giveaway about her character of being a cop. So she wants to save humans. She wants to preserve humanity. She doesn't want to be the vampire that she actually, the vampire creature that she actually is. Because that's the reason why Vamp Eddie Murphy comes to Brooklyn, because she is the only other surviving member of the vampire race that Vamp Eddie Murphy is from. So his whole thing is, I need to get with her, I need to mate with her so that we can continue our race or our species. So he's not there just to, like in the movie Coming to America, he's not there to, you know, looking for a wife on the throne with him in Zamunda and, live with the elephants and put berries in their hair and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Nah, Vamp Eddie Murphy is on a survival mission. You know what I'm saying? All his people is dead, save for him and Angela Bassett's character. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get their names. I don't want to keep calling them by the actress names. Hold on. Yeah, so Maximilian, which is Vamp Eddie Murphy, and then Rita Veter. So Rita, that's Angela Bassett's character, is Rita. So Rita don't want to be the vampire that she actually is. So in the movie, her dad was in this is the vampire, but her mom, I guess, is the the human. So she's half and half. So again, Vamp Eddie Murphy, Maximilian, is on a mission to continue his species. So there's kind of like a sympathy for him. It's like this sympathetic monster in a sense, right? Like he's not completely evil or completely depraved or something like that. He's looking to survive. So it's just like a lion in the wild. Like, I want to continue my lion lineage. So I need to go find a lioness so we can bang every, you know how lions mate. They always showing mating videos of lions where it's like they do 9 seconds, 15-minute break, another 9 seconds of humping, 15-minute break, and they keep doing that throughout the day or whatever. And that's understandable, because if you the last of your people, the last of your kind, you want to continue your legacy. You don't want to be an extinct creature, right? So his whole drive is to find her, make love to her, marry her, and they can continue their race. But Rita ain't with that because she grew up as a human. So let that sink in. It's a lot of y'all out there that you are beyond this human parameter, or at least this conditioning that was placed upon you while being here in the Western world, but you want to live in the luxury of humanity. And I don't know why you would ever consider it a luxury. You treat it as one. So whenever you're introduced to anything that is beyond the the humanity, because you're not comfortable with it. So let's like tonight you find out that you are half dolphin or something, and now you can swim into the depths of the water. That's scary for you, ain't it? Because you live most of your life as a regular ass potato chip eating, beer drinking, Fox News watching human. You know what I mean? Say Alan Payne being, I'm reading the comments here. Alan Payne being her partner was also symbolic. Who's more human than G Money? Yeah, that's another thing. G Money is in the movie. Alan Payne. I was about to get to you. You got ahead of me right there. Yeah. So his name in the movie is Detective Justice. So instead of being the vampire that she is, she chooses the light skinned bull. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing against light skinned people. In fact, if you are light, or if you know anybody light skinned, let them know they still black. Because black ain't just determined by your color. It's your vibration, it's your attitude, it's your blood. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of light skinned people out there feel, a little insecure because, they don't have this, darker skin. You know what I mean? Let them know. Reach out to your light skinned family and friends and let them know they still black. You know what I'm saying? We still accept you. You're not apart from us. Because there is some black people that, just because you light skinned, and they're a little darker, they'll think that you mixed or you somehow polluted or something, like you got white people genes in you or something like that. It's like, no, you still black. You still black. You know what I'm saying? Let them know. But anyway, and it makes sense that she would choose to remain human because that's all she know. You know what I'm saying? She didn't know her dad was, part of this race of vampires. You know what I mean? It makes sense, but it also it's a statement on you trying to save people or you trying to show them who they really are. It's like it's going to fall on deaf ears because they already conditioned and used to and trained to be the human that this Western society has conditioned them into. You know what I mean? They've been conditioned to be that. Now let's dig into the whole vampire thing though, because there are features about a vampire where it's like there's a lot of the shit that comes through based on someone writing a movie or a TV show, and then that feature that they added into the vampire thing, it just kind of stuck. So now, that's a part of what the vampire is. Like, for example, they're allergic to silver or something like that. Where did that come from? Who came up with that? Like specifically silver. Why would you be allergic to silver specifically? Or it takes like a wooden stake through the heart to kill them, or sunlight kills them or something like that. Where do all these things come from? Because a lot of this shit is just somebody saying, oh, we're going to add this to the vampire, we're going to add this feature. But is that a true feature of an actual creature like that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wonder, because now we get into more of the occult of this and understanding that, what if humanity or human is not your final stage of your being? What if you have something else that's within you that you are striving towards if you would only go through that process of becoming that, right? And not even necessarily saying it's a vampire. It could be maybe your end goal is to be a god or some sort of, mystical, magical creature or something like that. You know what I mean? What if you're not really human? You just have the semblance and the flesh of it, but this is just it's just like the butterfly thing. I keep bringing this up because it's a simple tool of teaching you this stuff. Some of y'all is just caterpillars when you have the potential to be butterflies and moths and all that. So a lot of the caterpillars will never make it to the butterfly stage. And did you know that monarch butterflies are actually cannibalistic and vampiric, just like a vampire? Yeah, like monarch butterflies will land on a caterpillar and suck its juices out with that proboscis. If I'm saying it right, the proboscis that curl up and then they use it to suck the nectar out of flower. They'll use that same proboscis to suck out the juices of a caterpillar, another caterpillar. You know what I'm saying? Because they look beautiful with the flap. You see them on the back of strippers' asses and wherever they got the butterfly tatted on them. But a butterfly is actually a very vicious creature. It just looks beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Just like a lion. A lion is a beautiful, beautiful fur, golden, all that. But that motherfucker would put the fangs around your throat in a quickness. And now the butterflies have claws on their feet, and they be using that to scratch into their prey. Like these is vicious creatures, but they don't look like that because you see them flapping and it looks beautiful. Nah, they're closer to that vampire thing than anything. But like I said, I'm digressing. But getting back to what a vampire is, like I said, it could just be anything that's just more advanced than the human, or what the human is just a larvae stage or a caterpillar stage for something else. You can look at it that way instead of just focusing on who's biting who. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things about the vampire is one of the most sexual monsters throughout literature. Because you can just say a vampire is a zombie, right? It's the undead. It's something that's dead and it came back to life. But with the vampire specifically, there's always an element of sexuality to the vampire. Always. Even down to you biting someone. Like that's a sexual act. Like you're drinking someone's blood. That's an act of intimacy. You're drinking their DNA. You know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side, you're giving that victim your DNA so that then they become the vampire. Or that fucked up zombie thing from the Blade movie. Like, what's his name? What was his name? Hold on, what's his name? Hold on. You become one of those instead of like a regular vampire. You just become like with the Curtis guy. Well, I think his name was Curtis. Hold on. Yeah, Curtis. You know, in the Blade movie, which again is another movie that's in that line of black vampires. Um, you know, he becomes like this real fucked up zombie like vampire. He don't become the regular vampires. He become like this real like savage or whatever. But anyway, you know, there's always that sexual element to vampirism. Even like the seduction, the stare that the Dracula gives the women and all that is always a sexual element to that. You know what I'm saying? It's what is sex but an exchange, right? Like if I bite you, you know what I'm saying? If I bite you, you get my DNA and I get yours because I'm drinking your blood. You know what I mean? Who wouldn't want that? So it's this woman that doesn't want to tap into her like her vampire self, her vicious monstrous self. You know what I'm saying? She wants to be a cop and date what's his name? G Money. So it's a tragic story, this movie of Vampire in Brooklyn, because you know, Vamp Eddie Murphy doesn't get to continue his race. You know what I'm saying? Imagine going all the way to another part of the land to find your bride or your wife or your love, you know what I'm saying? Your soul, your twin flame, and she rejects you. Because he said in the movie, she's the only other surviving member of their clan, of their family. You know what I'm saying? Of their tribe. Only surviving member. And she reject not only did she reject them, she murked them. She killed them. Tragedy. So it begs the question, like, should we like is there a tragic or is there like a tragedy to such a creature like that? You know what I'm saying? So I guess with this movie, I guess they were trying to show you the dark side of going all the way across the world to find your woman and you not getting her. You know what I'm saying? Because again, back in the movie Coming to America, he gets her. They try to make it seem like he's not going to get her, and then they give you the twist that you know she winds up in Zamunda, and then they live happily ever after. And then the tragedy comes with that when they get to the sequel. You know what I'm saying? The whole sequel is a tragedy. You know what I'm saying? It ended well with the first movie, but as soon as the first second of the sequel on Amazon is where the tragedy starts. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that shit was, but anyway, getting back to the movie, Vampire in Brooklyn, that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy. This woman that is supposed to help you continue your species, your race, because you and her is the only one, and she kills you in favor of humans. My heart just sank. Just, you know what I mean? My heart just sank. You know what I mean? Because we supposed to be above this human parameter. We have it in our bloodstream. You know what I mean? It's in our DNA. It's in our genetic makeup. But to her credit, again, she knows nothing about it. But I think what if I remember, I think she does have some sort of you know, flashes in her mind throughout her life or some dreams and stuff like that that alerts her to the fact that she's not a regular human. You know what I'm saying? So she knows it. She just doesn't want to come to terms with it. Because this is the odd part of life. Like when anything that's in you or that's like you got anything going on with you, you better believe that the more you avoid it, the greater it confronts you. So I even see her story as, you know, outside of, you know, Vamp Eddie Murphy coming onto the scene is that, you know, she kept avoiding and trying to evade this part of her. And then he comes into her life to remind her of who she is. And she's so scared, or you know, you can even say like, you know, disgusted by that part of her, that she has to kill that part of her off, and she does that symbolically by killing Vamp Eddie Murphy in the movie. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. You can see it a different way. I mean, you got the same movie. You can go look it up, but that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, it's one of those encounters where you are face to face with a part of yourself being reflected onto this other person. So by her looking at Vamp Eddie Murphy, she's looking at a part of herself. Now, is that this whole thing is fiction? But how fiction is what I just said? Because I know a lot of y'all are faced with things that you don't want to face it, but it confronts you anyway. You know what I mean? It comes into your life in the form of a person, a situation, an animal, a sign, a synchronicity, and you keep sitting here denying it or acting like it doesn't exist. It confronts you. It's that saying, you break the mirror that reminds you of your ugliness. You know what I'm saying? You break the mirror that reminds you of your ugliness. So you got to understand that relation is reflection. Every relationship you have in your life is a reflection of you. That's why it's there. Every relation you've ever had, you have now, and you will have in future time is there to reflect some part of you. And in some cases, the whole you, not just part, the whole you. You know what I mean? You can't evade something that's a part of you. Because wherever you go, my little slogan, wherever you go, there it is. Oh, what's in my cup? My glass cup, you ask? Coagulated blood. But what vampire drinks coagulated blood through a straw? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to bite into that. You're supposed to be like a lion. But anyway, so like I said, and then this whole Caribbean connection. This is where I see the Obia come out or the Obai come out. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, you're saying that you come from ancient Egypt, and then you're saying that y'all spread out all over Africa, and then y'all went to the Caribbean or the Bermuda and all that stuff like that. It's a lot of Obia vibes here. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the dude from what's Serpent in the Rainbow, the patrol nigga. What's his name? What's the actor name? Hold on. What's the actor name? Hold on. He's the villain in the movie Serpent in the Rainbow. And both movies was directed by Wes Craven, by the way. So Wes Craven directed Vampire in Brooklyn, Serpent in the Rainbow, Nightmare on Elm Street, People Beneath the Stairs. You know what I'm saying? Remember that movie? Where there was cannibals in that movie? You know what I mean? Yeah, this dude right here, Zakes. He's from South Africa. Zakes Moke. This dude. He was the villain in Serpent in the Rainbow. But in this movie, Vampire in Brooklyn, he's like the shaman of the movie. Like he explains, what Eddie Murphy is, and he breaks down. Does he interact with Yeah, he does interact with Rita, Angela Bassett's character. Like he tells her, what's going on. You know what I mean? Lets her know that this vampire that's coming, this man, your dad was in that. So this is somebody from your tribe coming to you so that y'all can continue your tribe. Hold on. So I think that's the dude is supposed to be from Jamaica. I think they make a reference to Jamaica. So again, it's this whole Obia Obai thing in this movie. And I mentioned this in what video did I mention this in? The video that I made about Obia Obai online. I mentioned this movie, Vampire in Brooklyn, and how it has those undertones of that Obia Obai thing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the Obia Obai thing is associated with vampires and vampirism too. You know what I'm saying? Especially in this book right here. Hold on. Yeah. In this book here, you know what I'm saying? The practice of witchcraft in Ghana, where, Anybody who knows me know that, I done talked extensively about this and how gangster this book is. You know what I mean? This is a gangster book, you know what I'm saying? If you want to hit me up and get the I sell the ebook version of this and this book too, the sequel, and then matter of fact, the whole trilogy. So just hit me up or at you can email me whatever you see my email or whatever, hit me up and you can get the copy of this, purchase a copy. The ebook version. So in a book like that, like, that shows you another aspect of the whole vampire thing, because in that book the vampires are not necessarily hunting you for your blood per se. It's more about your energy. You've heard of energy vampires before, right? Like you probably know you probably in a relationship with one. You know, say you probably your family, your dad, your moms, you know what I mean, your friends, like they just, every time you come around them you just feel depleted and tired and exhausted because they like just sucking on your energy all damn day, or your juice or whatever, you know what I mean. And these vampires here in this book, what I'm saying, if that's what you want to call them, they're more dealing with the so-called astral plane or the dream world type of thing, you know what I'm saying. But it's interesting to look at, vampires from a African or black perspective because it kind of changes. It's different for us. You know what I'm saying? There's different things about it because you gotta understand that every indigenous culture has some sort of vampire myth or vampire explanation. You know what I'm saying? Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, you know what I'm saying? Jamaica, anywhere you look here in the United States, there's always some sort of rendition of the vampire with us, you know what I mean? But like I said earlier, what's your take on a vampire, right? Like, is every vampire allergic to garlic? Like, where did the garlic thing come from? You know what I mean? Is that even true? Like if a vampire just appeared at your front door right now, would garlic, if you had garlic on the door, would it keep his ass out? You know what I'm saying? Or if I threw silver coins at a vampire joint, you know what I'm saying? She going to melt and evaporate and burn up or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you don't find any of those features when you start dealing with the black version of the vampire. You know what I'm saying? That's only in the Western white world where you got all those things about that type of vampire. But this type is more of a species rather than just you got bit by and got a disease and now you're a vampire. You know what I'm saying? And then dealing with the whole Dracul thing, or the Dracula, or the Dracon, or Draconian thing, right? Dealing with that. Some of y'all know about that. The dragon, you know what I mean? Dragon men, dragon women. So what if this whole drag or vampire thing is more about there's people who are actually like living dragons, like they are dragon in spirit or whatever, or dragon in some way or fashion, you know what I mean? Because that's where you get, the name Dracula. Dracula's dragon, you know what I mean? You got the Alpha Draconis star in the sky. You got all these different places where you find Dracon, Dracul, Draculil, you know what I'm saying? However they pronouncing it and spelling the word, it's all goes back to the same meaning. You know what I'm saying? Even in the Kemet thing, they say that it was the pharaohs was dragons. You know what I'm saying? He was a part of the dragon clan or the dragon line. You know what I mean? Even in China, the emperor is the dragon, the five-toed dragon. You know what I mean? Said the Obaifo is considered a vampire witch creature. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just saying. Again, it's all in this book right here, in the other two books in this trilogy. You know what I mean? So, like us going back to Vamp Eddie Murphy, in this movie, again, he's speaking from a term, he's or a place of being born this way, of being this species. You know what I'm saying? Rather than someone bit him, as he was a human, and then he turned into that, like Deacon Frost from Blade. You know what I mean? He's not that. He's it's an actual living creature. So it begs the question again, you know, does this thing actually exist out here? And if it does, where do we find it? And is it something in you that you can activate or bring to life? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I do know, but I'm not going to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to tell nobody. This is a public platform. I ain't about to be all telling you all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah. So, you know, going back to this movie, you see a woman who's not in tune with that side of herself. So, in denial of that part of herself, she kills off the other surviving member of her clan that she has no knowledge of, but it's in her blood. So you that look, picture that you got shit in your blood right now, and you don't know nothing about it. You probably have dreams about it. You probably have little signs, little omens pop out at you. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have a clue. You dumbfounded. You don't know nothing. You don't know shit. Because a lot of y'all don't want to be coming to terms with things. You know what I mean? Because again, you want to adhere to what you were kind of conditioned into, which is again, you living in this Western society, being a United States citizen or whatever. Because that comes with a whole conditioning with that. You know what I mean? Hell, we like if you my age, we all watched the same Nickelodeon cartoons. All the cartoon, all the Nick and all that. We saw all of it together. You know what I'm saying? My generation, we was the first ones to have the computer in the schools. You know what I mean? I remember when they first introduced computers. We was the first ones in the 90s to actually be in school with computers. You know what I mean? We share that with each other in my age range or whatever. And then just being in America in general, like I said, you was traumatized, or not necessarily traumatized, but you experienced all these different waves of news and events. You know what I'm saying? The 9/11s, um, uh, the Bill Clinton controversy where he nutted on the Joan dress and everybody got mad. You know what I'm saying? The OJ case. We all share these common things, a part of our experience here. A lot of people are not willing to let any of that go. You know how I keep saying let go of the world and get a hold of yourself? A lot of people will never do that. They will live and die being this conditioned mold that was given to them by this society or this colonized regime. But like I said, if you have this type of thing in your bloodstream and your DNA, it's not going to escape you. It's going to be right there with you, no matter how much you try to deny it or try to act like it ain't there. You know what I'm saying? And this is a love story. Again, it's just like Coming to America. He's coming to claim this last woman of this tribe that he belongs to so that they can continue being vampires. And she turns him down, rejects him, kills him. Tragic. It's even more tragic because this is his story, and he's, at the beginning of the movie, we see him stating his mission or telling him, telling us the tragedy of his clan or his tribe. But because he's a predator in that sense, is like, you don't really kind of sympathize with him. But I'm like, again, this if it's about survival, what you gonna get mad at the fucking tiger for eating the deer or the moose or whatever vegetarian animals that tigers eat in Asia? You know what I'm saying? You gonna get mad at the tiger because they eat meat? I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to embrace that shadow nature of themselves, and they will deny it and project it onto other things. You know what I'm saying? When we watch movies, the monster, we are always projecting that side of ourselves onto this figure. That's the reason why they make these movies and these TV shows. So you can live vicariously through these characters and these creatures that in the realm of fiction. so that you don't go out there and do anything like that yourself. That's why they do it. Because a lot of people in the occult realm is like, the occult circles out here, it's like, there's a lot of identification with the villains of these movies and stories, right? Like some of us like identifying with Thanos or Killmonger or Queen Akasha, you know what I'm saying, from the Queen of the Damned. Like you like relating to these villains and stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's the darker side, that's the shadow of your nature. You know what I mean? And the reason it resonates with you is because you're looking at a part of yourself, a reflection of yourself, but you're not embracing it. You're not bringing it, you're not incorporating it or integrating it into your being. So it becomes a separate entity for a lot of people. And again, whenever you try to separate from your being, you most likely project it onto other things and other people. You know what I'm saying? Which the things you reject is the things you project. You know what I mean? Just to keep it simple on that level. So yeah, it's a lot of vampire miseducation out here. Like I said, a lot of people when they think vampire, they think of something that's has been put in a movie or a TV show or something like that. But what if there is a real life understanding of what that actually is? You know what I'm saying? What if? See, I seen a broadcast of something somewhere, right? And it was this podcast, I think, and this woman was on here, and she was saying like when she have sex or whatever, she likes drinking blood. Sexy girl, woman. She likes drinking. She says she likes the iron taste. You know what I'm saying? She's addicted to the iron taste of the blood. And she makes her mate drink her blood, like her period blood and all that stuff. Now, like I said, the vampire thing always had a sexual undertone to it. You know what I'm saying? Because even look at Blade. Blade is kind. I would look at Blade as a successor to Vampire in Brooklyn. Because again, it's dealing with a black vampire and what it means to us being black or African or indigenous or whatever. And he's the daywalker. So he's one of those. He's a vampire where he can survive in sunlight. He can walk freely throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to the other vampires where they burn up if they ain't got that mascara stuff on their face, or what I'm saying, they ain't got it all covered up. But the reason I bring up Blade too is because there's a lot of sexual energy in that movie, a lot of sexuality in there, you know what I mean? Because a lot of you don't want to make the connection between death and sex. Y'all don't want to make that connection. Isn't it death when you stick your, or whatever, you male or female, when you're engaged in coitus, you know what I'm saying, to be scientific about it, or copulation, your ego and her ego or his ego is supposed to die because you're joining bodies, so you become one thing. So in sex, your ego is supposed to die. Thing is, a lot of people like keeping their egos, and it explains it explains their sex patterns, especially if you're promiscuous or you just sexing anybody like that. Like you're not here to die, you're here to just satisfy a sexual urge. That's why if you go through a real like a hierogamos, or like a spiritual marriage or a mystical marriage, like an alchemy or a tantra even, you and your mate is supposed to die. Y'all egos are supposed to die, and y'all supposed to become a new creature based on that tantric act. You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that the orgasm is called what? Little death. La petite mort. Francais. You know what I'm saying? A little death. So these are just a couple other features. Matter of fact, it brings me to a post I put up on my Instagram before where I explain how sex or sexuality or just sex in general is nothing but a soft core form of cannibalism. Because what is a vampire doing? Is drinking your blood. Is that not cannibalism? You know what I mean? You're drinking someone's blood. You're tasting their plasmids and their blood cells and all that. That's a form of cannibalism. So if you look at sex, what are you doing? You're eating that person. Even going as far as the oral sex. You know what I'm saying? Even the oral sex is you eating. So you're putting some part of that person's body into your mouth. It's cannibalism. And then you got women out here that be drinking blood and all that stuff. Or you swallowed the seed or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't want to get too graphic, man, because I don't want to get cut off. They be like, you got to take down the video because y'all be, sensitive about topics like this. But I live this stuff. This stuff is highly interesting to me because it ain't just being vulgar; it's being real. You know what I mean? Like in my book right here, I got a chapter dealing with accelerated sex drive. So that's chapter. What chapter is that? Hold on. Do-do-do-do-do. And I wrote this essay about 5 or 6 years ago too. It's called Accelerated Sex Drive. Yeah, right here. Accelerated Sex Drive. The penetrative reason behind hypersexuality. That's the name of the essay I wrote. So that essay was definitely about dealing with how in the conscious community they like to create these backronyms for for like sex, for example, sacred energy exchange. I like to call it savage energy exchange because nothing sacred about what y'all be doing out here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to judge you on your sexual escapades or whatever, but you know what I'm talking about. But what I was explaining also is that hypersexual drive that some people have is a misinterpreted drive to actually evolve yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know that tantric art or that alchemical art of evolution and coming into the new species that you're supposed to become. Wink, wink. Isis thesis balls of fire. You misdirected. So now it becomes whatever type of devious sexual act that you're into. You know what I'm saying? Like some people they like dookie in their sexual appetites. They like dookie in it. You know how you like hot sauce on your fried chicken or ranch on your fries or whatever. Some people like dookie in their sex. No judgment whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? That's just don't try to solicit it to me or try to get me involved. As long as you don't get me involved, we are good. Don't involve me in that. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to tempt me. Don't try to be seductive about nothing like that. I don't want no parts. But I understand. You know what I'm saying? And then if you are a person that has like a high sexual drive, then you are a person that is prime and fit for a tantric alchemy. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at the vampire thing, this is why I was sitting here talking about this stuff because the vampire is like a rendition of that. It's a representation of it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if you're having sex with somebody, you're also sharing fluids, you're sharing bacteria, you're sharing microorganisms, energies. The soul tie thing in Christianity. Remember they say you got to cut all the soul ties of all the people you know what I'm saying, have sex with, and you still have their residue on you somehow. You got to cleanse yourself of them and whatever. It's in your bloodstream, and you drink period blood. That's what you be doing. Sex starve. You'll do anything just for you to have sex. You'll do anything. eat booty and all that stuff. That's what you be doing. Again, a form of soft core cannibalism. Now, even when you go into, zoology or dealing with animals, you know that, like, for example, the black widow spider, the female, after she has sex with the male spider, she eats him. She sucks all his fluids and his innards out. So it begs another question. To get a nut, would you die for it? Would you die for not only for a nut, or would you also die to continue, your genetics? Because obviously you impregnated her, you know what I'm saying? But she said, "Oh, I'm gonna nourish your babies in my stomach with your insides, your juice. So I'm gonna kill you and eat you." That's what the black widow spider be doing. That's why it's called a widow spider, because it kills its male counterpart. There's a few other animals that do that, mostly insects, I think, or just arthropods that do that. Like, you turn the man into lunch after he busts his nut and then impregnates you. That's crazy. Could you imagine that being like a feature in human relations? I don't know if that would slow dudes down from trying to get sex. Like, if you knew that she was going to eat you after you nutted it, like after had sex with her. You know what I'm saying? Said that's deep. Death during sex. Yeah, that's exactly what the aim should be. Some people don't aim for that. Obviously, they don't aim for that. But that's how you know where they at. That's how you know where, like, how advanced they are in understanding what sex actually is. Yeah, you do need to cut cords. You know what I mean? Sometimes not, because perhaps you, like, intermingling with that person, they give you something you was missing, and vice versa. That's why they put exchange in there, like sacred or savage energy exchange or whatever. But I got way off topic. We getting back to the Vamp Eddie Murphy. It's a tragedy. He never got to continue that vampire tribe or clan. You know what I'm saying? So he was not even there just to be romantic. He was there for survival. You know what I mean? But isn't that something painful though? Think about it. Feel it in your heart. You went all the way across the world to be with your boo, made only for you, but she rejected you and killed you. Damn. Because after that, it's like, well, you was rejected by your other half, so that means you could be rejected by anybody. Says some use sex to suck people's energy. Yes, you on point. Yes. Here, I'll put that up on the screen. Some use sex to suck. Exactly. Because I said it earlier, like, you can be in a relationship, whether it's it's just y'all two, or y'all having sex with other people, but the person in the dream, or it's not a dream, the relationship you with could just be there to suck your energy. Exactamundo. Correctamundo. Yeah. You got women that's disgusted by, semen or whatever. It's like, some women know that they kind of get an energy off of that. They get a feeding from it. They be calling it all types of protein shakes and stuff like that. That's a form of vampirism too. Like, you just go around sucking out men's semen. That's what you do. Like, you get some sort of energy boost off of it or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You get more life, because I mean, it's really just the whole solar phallic thing. Like, man is the sun, woman is moon. His seed is sparks of light. So you got women out here that prey on men just for his nut and nothing else. It's real out here, man. It's real out here. Vampires come in many different forms, sizes, and shapes, baby. You know what I mean? Succubus. They don't even start talking about succubus and incubus, because they say that's why you ever had that experience where you wake up from sleep but you can't move your body. That happened to me a few times in my life. Like, it's like you can't move. Like you got to really you got to really put a lot of effort into moving just your finger. You just stuck. You're awake, but you stuck. You know what I'm saying? And then some people attribute that to you being accosted by a succubus or incubus. I mean, damn, it's in the word suck. She's sucking you dry. Succubus. Makes sense. But the thing about that is that, they say that a succubus can turn itself into an incubus. And then what if, you're a dude and the incubus is, what I'm saying? Like, nah, I can't be doing it like that. Cannot be doing it like that. You can't. You a dude and you wake up and it's an incubus, the male vampire on you. Nah, that's not a good visual. Not a good visual. But vampires come in many shapes, sizes, and forms. I'm telling you. You ever be at work and there's this one coworker that just every time they come in the room, like all the energy just drained out, like they kill the vibe, and you know what I'm saying? They just suck all the good vibes, and now it's all dark and gloomy and melancholy and shit like that. But that's why I'm saying, you deal with Vamp Eddie Murphy. It's like he is more about survival than anything. You know what I mean? And that happened to him. Like she was the Black Widow, I guess. She killed him, just like the Black Widow spider kills the the male spider or whatever. You know what I mean? It's fucked up. But let me wrap this up. I didn't mean for us to be that long. I'm trying to keep these streams to like an hour or a little less than an hour. But yeah, I just figured, I'd come here and give you, the Vampire in Brooklyn thing, to conclude and sum it up, is the dark version of Coming to America. You know what I'm saying? Is it really the darker version? It's, what if you come to America and you don't get the girl, you don't get the woman? So I would watch. Matter of fact, I might even set it up for myself, maybe today or tomorrow, to watch Coming to America and then watch Vampire in Brooklyn and compare. What happens. And again, before I head out, do you have something like that going on with you, and you don't want to embrace it or deal with it? Because again, Rita, that's played by Angela Bassett, again, she's not pleased with the fact that she's half vampire. She doesn't like that. You know what I mean? Sexy woman. You know what I'm saying? Sexy, foxy lady. But she ain't want to deal with that side of herself. You know what I mean? And then before I go, I gotta the Eddie Murphy. He played the Italian dude, and then he played the pastor in the movie. He said, "Evil is good." Oh, evil is good, but also, what's his name? Kadeem Hardison. For me, he's the star of the show though, because when at least Vamp Eddie Murphy is kind of continued in a way, because he had his apprentice, Kadeem Hardison. He played Julius in the movie. So once Vamp Eddie Murphy is dead and gone, he got killed by Rita, Julius gets the ring, puts the ring on, and he becomes the new vampire. So all is not lost. All is not lost. There's a new vampire in Brooklyn. We're Brooklyn now. Ain't nobody in here for Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? But anyway, man, let me get on up out of here, man. I just wanted to do like a good review of this movie, Vampire in Brooklyn. Again, Achad. Make sure you go ahead and purchase his book and stop playing with me, man. The whole writing, look how thick it is. It's thick, like, you know what I'm saying? The succubus. You know what I'm saying? The succubus got some thick thighs. It held you down, but I'm saying this is how I look at it. I'm not mad that the succubus is on me, but I want my nut. Don't be on me and I can't get a nut. Like, Keep doing this till I can bust. Like, you just gonna be on me. I don't get the orgasm. Like, what kind of shit is that? But anyway, holography, the whole writing of the arts and sciences as one educational discipline. You know what I'm saying? Let me put it on the screen here. Hold on. So holographer.com/the book. Patreon is open for those of you that want to deal more with the root work side. I'm not about to post any of those videos on my YouTube channel. It's all going to my Patreon because I don't want no censorships, or you know what I'm saying, them taking down videos for strikes or anything like that. So if you want some raw root work or kernel work, obia type stuff, obi type stuff, you want to go to my Patreon, patreon.com/holography. I'll catch y'all later. And the next time when you invite me to your house, let me in. I want to suck your blood. It's like, no, I'm not like that. My shirt like that, but I ain't like that.